With one last bid, he won the storage container he wanted. But he wasn't sure if what was inside would be valuable or a big mistake. When he found a locked safe in the container, he was thrilled. It was something most people only dream about. However, he didn't expect the police to show up at his door. Hours later, he was starting to feel more comfortable bidding on storage containers at auctions. Spending money on these items was a big risk, especially since he had no idea what was inside. He had heard many stories about people getting rich and finding classic cars, and he hoped he would be lucky too. So far, he had been fortunate. He had sold the things he found in containers for a little more than he paid for them. But it was a lot of work, and it took a long time to go through someone else's stuff. He had to sort everything, clean the valuable items, and find the right buyers. He was almost ready to give up for the day. If the next container didn't have anything good, he was done. Alex stood outside the container with about 15 to 20 other people. Everyone was eager to see what was inside the 5x15 unit. These units were too big to get a good look inside. However, they could easily store the contents of a one-bedroom apartment. A unit that size would be ideal for storing furniture like a couch, chair, and even a small dining set, or they could be used for sporting equipment, bicycles, and business merchandise. But that also meant they weren't ideal for glancing inside, especially when spending hundreds of dollars on the bidding. The bidding was not exactly what you would see on TV shows. With those shows, it's all about high drama, shouting, pushing, screaming, and gentle ma'am. But there was a fun side to it, especially when Alex got into a bidding war with another interested buyer. It felt good to win, but he had to remind himself, as he had done many times in the past, to stick to his budget. He couldn't spend what he couldn't afford to lose, a lesson he didn't want to learn the hard way. But Alex just couldn't help himself this time around. The container was tightly packed with furniture, which often goes for a good price, especially when it's old, and there were a few other goodies he wanted to look at a little closer. However, a woman behind him kept upping his bid. It started at $100. It was a hefty starting bid, but the container was really full. He matched the bid, and then the woman upped it a little. He bid a bit more, and so it continued. How long could it possibly go on for? He was $350 in, and he was adamant that there was no way he'd give up the container. The bids rose to $400, and she still hadn't given up, but neither had he. The bids kept climbing. $450, $460, $470. Finally, the bid settled at $500, making Alex the winner of the container. He felt incredible, but at the same time, he was shaking. He was drawn back down to earth and realized what he had done. That container had better be worth the amount he spent on it. A few onlookers lost interest and left after Alex won the auction, but some stayed to watch him sort through the contents. As he entered the large unit, he felt both excited and anxious. The container was filled with old furniture, and he worried it wouldn't be worth the high price he paid. Searching the dimly lit space, he found a gray container and pried it open, revealing a locked safe. Heart racing, he called a friend for a drill. After forcing it open, he discovered stacks of old VHS tapes and a chilling note that read, "Don't." As he inspected the tapes, unease crept over him. Suddenly, men in uniforms entered the unit, turning his excitement into dread. Peeling back layers of wax paper, he uncovered stacks of $50 bills, realizing he had stumbled upon a lot of money. He was left wondering who it belonged to and why the police were interested. His excitement had blinded him to the consequences. In his exhilaration, Alex snapped photos, sending them to his girlfriend and posting them online. His social media accounts blew up with new followers, all trying to get a glimpse of his sudden wealth. The numbers reached $1 million when the police intervened, but as he was soon to learn, they were not the only ones after the cash. In total, Alex had uncovered $7.5 million from several safes, but this bonanza came at a price. The owner had learned about his strike soon enough, and high-octane attorneys were hounding Alex to return the cash. Suddenly, the incredible find became a nightmare. The threats started coming in, and Alex spiraled into fear. The surreal excitement of finding hidden treasure gave way to sleepless nights as he couldn't shake the nagging questions. Who put this money here? And what's on those tapes? Then came a phone call from the lawyers, offering Alex $600,000 as a finder's fee if he returned the rest of the money. It was tempting, but he wasn't sure he wanted to cross people who could forget millions in a storage unit. Unable to resist, Alex opened the plastic bag with the tapes and played one in an old VCR. What he saw horrified him, terrifying scenes that he wished he could unsee. He tried to convince himself it was staged, but doubt gnawed at him. What if it was real? And what if the original owner knew he had seen it? His paranoia grew. Had he crossed a line? Was he being watched? Keeping the money felt dangerous, and returning it meant dealing with people who might eliminate loose ends. Legally, he had rights to the unit's contents, but the lawyers weren't backing down. Their next offer was $1.2 million, a significant increase, but still just a fraction of the total. Alex struggled with the decision, questioning if the risk was worth it. The thought of someone forgetting millions in cash chilled him. He finally suggested that they split the money down the middle in hopes of a compromise. After all, the unit had been legally auctioned due to non-payment, yet the threats didn't stop. The shadow of the original owner loomed over him, leaving Alex trapped between fortune and fear. It was curiosity that brought Alex here, but it was a story he almost wished he had never told. So what's the deal with the VHS tapes, really? Well, he never said. The less the public knew, the better. He had become terrified for his life, and some discoveries were best left buried. Purchasing a storage unit without knowing what's inside can be risky, and in Alex's case, terrifying. However, for a few lucky bidders, buying a unit really paid off. In 1989, one man got the surprise of his life when he found a car covered in a tarp in the unit he had won at auction. The car turned out to be none other than an original submarine vehicle used in the James Bond movie, The Spy Who Loved Me. The man sold the car to Elon Musk for a cool $1 million. It all started when the couple made the decision to purchase a storage unit at a local auction for just $100. They had no idea what they would find inside, but they were hoping for some hidden treasures. As they began to rummage through the unit, they came across an old car that seemed to be in good condition. It was a vintage vehicle at first glance, and the two couldn't believe their luck. It was a hot summer day when they made the find. The couple reported, "We were on the lookout for some cheap furniture and never expected to find something as valuable as a car." But tucked away in the corner was a battered old Lotus Esprit sports car. It was covered in dust and cobwebs, but the two could tell it was a classic. They eagerly paid the $100 fee to the storage unit company and took it home. The couple had always been vehicle enthusiasts, so they decided to take a chance on the car, drafted a plan to restore it, and immediately got to work. As they were cleaning it and making the necessary repairs, they noticed something strange about the license plate. It had a special designation reserved for movie cars. After some research, the couple discovered that the car had featured in the 1977 James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me. They were beyond shocked and couldn't believe their luck. After all, how often does one stumble into such wondrous finds? After completing their renovations, the couple showcased their car at exhibitions for a few years before deciding to sell it. They contacted car collectors and posted an ad online, which caught the attention of Elon Musk. The billionaire, a huge James Bond fan, was interested in adding the car to his collection. Musk shared his childhood love for The Spy Who Loved Me, expressing disappointment that the car didn't transform into a submarine in real life. After negotiations, the couple agreed to sell the car for nearly $1 million, a massive profit from their $100 investment. They handed over the keys, and Musk promised to cherish the car, thanking them for restoring such a piece of movie history. He even mentioned that his Cybertruck was inspired by it. However, as they walked away, the couple felt a sense of loss, realizing they had sold a part of their history. They were glad it went to someone who appreciated its value as much as they did. Storage units have long proven to be Schrodinger's boxes. There is usually no telling what one might find. After winning them in auctions, one might buy a unit for $100 and find goods worth $20 inside. Other times, the value might spike up to $7 million. The only way to find out is usually to buy and open the unit and see. While most have made great profits by buying these units, others haven't been as lucky. In Connecticut, an unlucky buyer thought he had made the find of the decade. Dave, the buyer, had always been fascinated by storage unit auctions. He spent his weekends scouring the internet looking for the best deals. One day, he stumbled upon a unit that seemed too good to be true. It was being sold for a fraction of its value, and the seller alluded to it being filled with goods worth thousands of dollars. Excited at the prospect of striking it rich, Dave gathered a massive portion of his savings and placed a bid. He was thrilled when the announcer declared him the auction winner. As he unlocked the unit, he imagined finding valuable antiques inside. However, his excitement quickly faded when he discovered only old clothes and broken appliances. Dave couldn't believe he had spent most of his savings on a unit filled with junk. Desperate to find something of value, he continued searching until he spotted a small box in the corner. Hoping for treasure, he opened it, but found only old letters and photos telling the story of a long-gone family. He felt sad, realizing the only value was sentimental, not monetary.